Hey everybody, this is Jeff Livingston with Cognitive Path. I'm here with Matt Muldoon, President for North America at ReadSpeaker. How are you today, Matt?
Well, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me this morning.
Cool. How do you like being in DC during peak foliage?
Well, it's fantastic. Coming in from Boston yesterday on the flight, you could actually see the difference in where the tree stages were from the foliage aspect. So it's beautiful. Weather's warm. Great to be here.
Oh, excellent. Well, we're glad to have you here. For folks that don't know, can you tell us what ReadSpeaker does?
Sure. ReadSpeaker is actually celebrating our 25th birthday. We were founded in Uppsala, Sweden, about 25 years ago. We've got over 10,000 customers, and we primarily focus on voice applications that are helping both in the private sector, in the public sector, helping learners, and also we have an accessibility arm. Also focuses on conversational AI. So think chatbots, virtual humans, digital humans, and anywhere that there's a play or a need for voice application, whether that's in an elevator, IVR, or an accessible component as well.
Outstanding. So a lot of education, a lot of learning, a lot of training.
Yes, ed tech is probably number one sector for us in both corporate, government, and K through 12 and higher ed, where we're helping learners along the way of their journey and enabling content that may be too much to read. You may think of a medical student that has 50 or 60 chapters to read over a course of a night. They can actually listen to that content in about half the time. So it's both a productivity tool and a learning enablement tool, where we have visual lookups, where we have dictionary tags if you're learning different terms that you may not be familiar with.
Great. So for those that may not be familiar, can you tell us how that works, how it reads the text, how it learns it, if you would, that kind of that natural language processing, if you would?
Yeah, so it's basically a widget on the page that'll read all of the content. It's if the images are tagged, it'll also read those images as well. So from a WCAG's compliance perspective, and what it's actually doing behind the scenes is there's a cursor that's moving across, transcribing that text into audio, and then we can transcribe that into about 50 different languages.
Oh, pretty cool.
So it covers the predominant major languages of the world, and then also we have about 250 plus voices. So if you're interested in hearing, something in an Australian or English accent, we also have child voices or teen voices that are used heavily in education. And if you want to hear something, from a gender perspective, we also have voices in that realm. And the users will really navigate to a voice that may remind them of a family member, may remind them of a professor or a teacher, and really makes the content much more easier to listen to and more enjoyable during that journey.
Oh, outstanding. So obviously we have a diverse group of stakeholders here today between the Voice Conference and the GovAI Summit. So maybe can you tell us how this helps an enterprise meet their mission? Start with that, and then we'll go into maybe some of the education and government uses.
Yeah, I think what Modev is and what Pete have put on here is really fantastic, because not only does it help us get our products out, but merging the two events from the Gov and the AI perspective, our tool can be used in really any sector. If you think of high security, we can be embedded, we can be on cloud, off cloud, so we can help with the security aspect. And then from an education perspective, whether that's continuing ed, whether that's K through 3, K through 6, K through 12, we can help learners along the way. And then also first-time readers. English is a second language. So we're really, really providing content where you are in that journey. And it's not just from an education perspective. It also may be that you need something voice-enabled, like an avatar. If you think of different use cases for avatars or digital humans, we can provide that voice in many, many languages that can meet a client's needs. Also, with the advent of AI, we're seeing a major increase of voice being utilized in different applications. I think we've seen the success of what Google Home has brought, what Amazon Alexa has bought, and that is transcribing now into mental health cases.
Wow.
Also moving into smoking cessation programs or addiction therapies.
So in a lot of ways, your technology is foundational.
We like to think that way, and in most aspects it is, because we can really fit, and you may just have a need to have your website be accessible. We can do that for an organization. So, folks that are here today exhibiting like us, We may not have a fit from a B2B perspective, but we can make their website accessible. So we can be, kind of at the elementary level or at the very, very sophisticated embedded level.
So one of the things that your site and you guys talk about generally is leveling the playing field for folks. Tell me how that really makes somebody that may be at a disadvantage, for example, that second language learner, how does it really make things easier for them to really level up, if you would?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jeff, and something that our entire team is extremely dedicated to and really, really extremely passionate about, where we want to make content available to anyone, whether it's, as I mentioned, English as a second language, whether it's a first-time learner. I think, the younger generation, when you look at people in K through 6, they're much more tech savvy and much more audio first and voice first, as opposed to when I went to school, there was really nothing that actually spoke. And leveling the playing field is making it kind of inclusive and welcoming to everybody and meeting you along that journey in the language or the voice preference that you may need to learn content, whether you're learning for the first time or it's just a productivity tool. And you may have to, read certain chapters or read reports. This can help you multitask and help those that, need to get a lot of content crushed.
Very cool. When you consider some of the outcomes that you've seen and how it's really impacted people, maybe you could share just some general impacts that you've seen and maybe a story, if you could, about maybe somebody that's really benefited from this technology.
Sure. Yeah, I think, obviously low vision impairments, tremendous use case there, tremendous help. Tons of stories in that space, in that realm. I think when you look at learners who maybe have some type of cognitive issue, let's take dyslexia as an example. For dyslexia students or even in the corporate sector, this gives them an avenue to solidify the content that they're consuming, whether it's reading an email, whether it's reading other content or something that they're proofing. I think those stories are always true and always near and dear to the heart, because you're making a difference not only in their lives, but in the lives of their families, their friends, their coworkers, and really helping them to succeed. I think other avenues where we're seeing this work from a mental health perspective and from a voice first perspective is providing a voice to those that may not have access to it or may not know that the voice can actually help them, whether that's in an application through a third party or through a partner of ours where they're using it to check on people in an assisted living aspect, and saying as a reminder, utilizing AI to say, hey Matt, did you take your medication today? Hey Matt, did you have lunch today? Did you eat something today? So there's voice interactions that I think are really, really changing, and I think probably everyone here today came here either by metro or drove. There's interactions there with the voice. So voice enabling things so you don't have to take your hands off the wheel or listening to, the metro stop announcement.
Very cool. Last question for you. I mean, when you consider educators, right, and how you're helping them, because it's a two-way street, right? They have the mission of raising people up. So when you consider the educator, and that could be very broad, right? That could be the corporate trainer. That could be the K-12 teacher.
Yes.
How are you really helping educators empower their constituents?
Well, I think the best story is a K through 12 teacher out in the Midwest who our product was implemented into their school system, and it freed up so much time for her, getting a million hands being raised about what's this word, can you slow down, can you go back, and providing the audio content enables the learner to be able to look up the definition of a word. So if they're stuck either on pronunciation or the true definition, giving them that ability. I think from the education in the corporate sector, it's the same aspect where people may have certain issues, vision impairments, whatever it may be. This is enabling them, whether you're going for your CPA exam or some type of certification, Series 7, or you're just learning a new module or modality, this is a way that can help enhance that and also shorten that learning time. So you're not spending 50, 60, 75 minutes reading something to take an exam where you may be able to listen to that in half that amount of time.
Fantastic. Little softball to end. What's your favorite AI app that everybody should know about?
Oh, that's a great question. There's so many out there right now. I think there's two in the financial sector that I use fairly regularly. Splitwise, if you travel, is a great one when you're splitting expenses. That's fantastic. I think the second one that I would say is probably in the learning space, that is helping students determine and find ways that they can look at materials differently. Having two young children in grammar school, this is an app that they are constantly using.
Very cool. Thank you for your time today, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Thank you.